Hello everyone. Basically, we just wanted to make a very short video just talking a little bit about how we met and how God has worked in powerful ways in and through our relationship. So it all started back at IHOP in 2013 at a college Bible study at Refuge. I just got back from my first and only mission trip in Russia, and I went to the Bible study, or actually it was like a preaching. It wasn't really a Bible study. And then afterwards, we always went to IHOP, and I went in and I met this beautiful lady right here.
And we kind of bonded over talking about his mission trip and about Jesus and photography, and then he gave me chocolate. So I knew he was a good guy. So when my severe health issues started about 18 years ago, I had been praying that if God was going to take me through some really deep and difficult times of suffering, that he would do awesome works and I would get to have the privilege of giving him glory. So one of the ways that he has worked awesomely in my life, and since we've started dating, was several years back when I was unable to take in enough nutrition for to keep my body going. I had gotten down to 88 pounds at my lowest, and it just got to a really scary place. I wasn't able to really walk around by myself or even pick up my cell phone. It was too heavy. And we thought that I might not make it. After a while, we found out that it was partially due to gastroparesis. There was a medication that was undergoing clinical trial, and I was going to try to get on the medication. So I went to MD Anderson and did the preliminary blood work and found out that my liver enzymes were 3 times too high to be admitted to the trial, and so I was denied from the trial, and that really had been my last avenue of hope for that specific health issue. So we all prayed and sought God about it, and in praying I felt that God was leading me to Exodus 15:22 through 25, where God provided for the Israelites after he led them through the Red Sea when they came to a bitter stream, and then he made the bitter water sweet so they could drink it. God had taken them to a closed door, and then he opened it and brought provision. And so I felt that that is what he was saying that he was going to do with me. He had taken me to a closed door, and that he himself was going to open it. And it was just at the very lowest point. Matt and I had been praying and just crying together, and we just didn't know what was going to happen. And there was a lot of fear. And after Matt had left, I was still praying later that night, and I just felt God saying, don't be like the Israelites who did not believe me, that he was going to provide for them in the midst of their wilderness, and just to have faith, to trust in him and rest in him. And so for the next month or so, we waited and I rested in him. And at the end of that time, we did blood work again, and God had brought down my liver enzymes back to normal levels. So I was able to be approved for the trial and started medication and was able to gain back up to my normal weight. And we were all just so amazed at how God had done that drastic and miraculous healing. I'm so thankful that he gave me my manna in the midst of my wilderness, and we're just so thankful for his sustaining power through that very difficult several years, and just so thankful for the ways he took care of me. Another time God really came through and just did an awesome work in my life and answered a lot of our prayers is when one of my necessary medications that helped me with both my gastroparesis and GERD was discontinued because they found that it had cancer-causing properties. All of the other GERD medications would actually make my gastroparesis worse, and that would cause me to not be able to take in enough nutrition to sustain my body. So it was very concerning. We didn't know what was going to happen. I thought that my ability to take in food might be over and that I might have to just rely on permanent IV nutrition. So we prayed, and our friends and family prayed, and church family prayed, and God led me to 1 Kings 17, the story of Elijah and the widow Zarephath, when God had been providing for Elijah, but then the provision dried up, and then God used supernatural means to take Elijah, and then through the widow Zarephath to provide for him once again. And so I felt like he was saying to me that though my provision had dried up, he was going to do something supernatural and bring about provision for me. A few days before my supply of the medication ran out, I was talking to my PA, and she said that there were no other medications that could help with my gastroparesis. So I then asked her about an unrelated medication, and when she started thinking about it, she said, there have been some studies done recently where this medication might also help with gastroparesis. And so we were just so amazed at this medication that seemed to come out of nowhere. And she prescribed it, and I was able to start taking it just a few days later. And it has, with my other medications, has enabled me to take in enough nutrition to sustain my body, and enabled me to continue to eat food. So God is just reminding me that medications and treatments and doctors are not my source, that He is my ultimate source, and that I need to continue looking to Him for my provision, and that He will just amaze and provide. It was just so amazing to have God speaking His word to me ahead of time, and then working in the situation and bringing about His word in the midst of my circumstances. And we were just so thankful for all that He was doing. Also wanted to just say how thankful I am for Matt, and just the huge support that he's been to me. He's been such a blessing and an encourager, always pointing me back to Jesus, always there to love on me and take care of me, and not complain, but always just jump in to help. And he has just proven himself over and over again to be a man of God.
One way God worked powerfully within our story is actually a 7-year story when God got me through Dallas Theological Seminary. I was working at the Lufkin Dream Center at the time. I was also finishing up my time at SFA working on my criminal justice degree. And so I actually began in the fall of 2014 at Dallas Theological Seminary, and within that first semester, I had to quit. I simply wasn't making enough money to sustain myself at that school, and so I had to withdraw. And so there was about a 3.5-year period where I wasn't going to seminary, but I really just used that time wisely to just read the Bible like a madman. The Bible Project was coming out. I was digging into all sorts of books. And so even though I wasn't going to seminary, I kind of was still continuing my seminary education on my own for a 3.5-year period. And so in the summer of 2017, I got a job with Inheritance Ministries, which got me into the prison working as a volunteer. And they actually provided enough money where I could actually go to seminary again. And so I was accepted. I got back in, and during that time, the chaplain who was at the prison, the Diboll Correctional Center, he actually retired for good. And so it was March 2018, I became the chaplain of the prison where I work now. And so I got to finish up seminary. And one of the things that, I don't know if I ever actually said this out loud, but, once I got through seminary, I would marry this beautiful, godly lady that God provided me. And just one of the many things that God has taught me through Melinda is that God's power really is manifested in weakness. And it isn't in our intellectual abilities. It isn't in our physical strength. God promises to use the weak and, Paul says, the foolish things of this world, what the world sees as small, as insignificant, he promises to use in a powerful way. And so that's something that God has taught me so well, Melinda, and it's a pleasure to be in a relationship with her.
So those are just a few of the many, many ways that God has been working in our 8 years that we have been dating. And we just wanted to share that with you. And we want to thank you for praising God along with us.